and welcome to Channel 18 TV News. I'm Don Julian. In the news, the Hopkins County Healthcare Foundation Board of Directors has announced the 2019-2020 Lights of Life campaign and gala chairs, and they will be Dr. David and Pam Black. The Blacks have shown a long-standing commitment to the community and to the hospital. The Saltillo Volunteer Fire Department was recognized by the Hopkins County Commissioners Court and County Fire Chief Andy Inslee on Monday for 43 years of dedicated service to the community. The court and fire chief, as part of the Hopkins County Fire Department's year-long 20th anniversary celebration, have opted to recognize a different volunteer fire department each month. And Sulphur Springs will soon be home to My Perfect Pet, a gourmet pet food company. After 2.5 years of work, terms have been reached for the Poway, California company to expand its operation to Texas, according to Sulphur Springs Hopkins County Economic Development Corporation Executive Director Roger Figley. The business will be located at 49 Pioneer Parkway in Pioneer Business Park. Groundbreaking ceremony is planned for 9 a.m. Wednesday at the site, and community members are invited to attend.
Today on the morning show, we met Eli Pettit. Now, Eli Pettit is a lady farrier or horseshoer. Let's find out more about her fascinating 30-year career.
Eli's for short. It's more masculine. So if you go into the farrier store or the feed store looking for a card for a shoer, I'm a farrier, blacksmith shoer, you're going to see Tommy and James and Bruce, and then you're going to see Elizabeth. Okay. And nobody ever goes, oh, Elizabeth, let me pick her to shoe my horse. She's manly.
Well, you are rather new here, but are establishing a clientele in shoeing horses, trimming horses, and doing the things that farriers do.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so, welcome to Hopkins County.
Thank you.
Have you been here a year?
Not quite a year.
Okay.
Yes.
And your work, this is your chosen work, and I'm just dying to find out how you got into it and what your background with horses is.
Oh, that's a great question. So I grew up in the city.
Okay.
City girl, subdivision, curbs and gutters, sidewalks, street lights, country clubs. And I got horseback riding lessons for my birthday when I was 13. And I'll never forget the smells and the aromas and the excitement of being around a horse. And I was hooked. I was just addicted right then and there. So, yeah, grew up outside of Houston.
Okay.
And horses was it. In high school, I was the kid that would put my hair in a ponytail and gallop down the hall and nicker and whinny. Yes, that was high school. I still did that. Yeah. So I was an addict from the beginning.
Well, we have a few things in common, a few more than I knew. And so when you grew up, you decided to be a horseshoer or farrier.
In a roundabout way.
Okay.
So I had left after high school and went venturing to travel the world, and was living in Virginia. Had a girlfriend who had a horse, and there was a farrier, a guy who showed up to trim the horse's feet. And I'd never seen it done before. And at the moment I was reading Louis L'Amour novels, and this guy shows up to trim this horse, and the lightning was crashing, and there was a storm coming in, and this guy was very steadfast in his work, and he never missed a lick. And I watched this, and I thought it was some romantic Western, and I said, I want to do that when I grow up. And my boyfriend at the time looked at me, and he said, that's not women's work. Women can't do that kind of stuff. I said, watch me. So I ended up breaking up with him, and I ended up going to shoeing school.
Okay.
I went to school in Oklahoma, graduated from that program, and sent that boyfriend a business card.
Okay.
I did.
What school in Oklahoma did you go to?
Oklahoma Horseshoeing School.
Which is on 35?
It used to be on 35. Okay. It's now moved to Purcell. Jack Roth is the owner of the place, and I believe he's still teaching today.
I always pass that when I'm headed to the city.
Yes.
Yeah. it's a big place.
It is a big place. They have a great turnout. And they'll tell you during school that most farriers do not make it past the 3-year mark. They just find it too difficult. And then if you do become an accomplished farrier, the career longevity for a farrier is 13 years because it's so physically demanding. After 13 years, your body's run down. And I have to say that I've defied that. I am now 30 years. This is 31. This year is 31 years into my career of shoeing horses.
Amazing.
So, yeah.
Well, for those who don't know their way around a horse's hoof, maybe you'll tell us about how you begin this job, this work.
How I begin, like on a day?
Like with a horse.
Okay, so when you get to the client's house, hopefully the horse is caught and tied and sprayed for flies, so the horse is standing comfortably. I have my tools with me. There's a set of nippers and rasp, my shoeing apron for safety, knife, hoof pick. So you start by picking up the horse's leg and cleaning out the bottom of the hoof. You clean out the debris and the mud and the stuff that's packed in there, and then pare away the sole and clip the hoof wall and then rasp it level and balanced and make sure the horse is standing comfortably for its own conformation. So each horse is different. So you're going to find this horse might be club-footed, this horse might be long in the toe, this horse might have navicular. So every single horse is going to be different from the last one that you touched.
Well, this is for every horse. Trimming is for every horse for good hoof health.
Correct.
And their comfort, just like us with our nails.
Yes.
Attention to that. So, but when it comes to shoeing, and this is optional for a lot of horses.
Shoeing is optional. You would shoe your horse for a variety of reasons. One of them would be for lameness, of course, if your horse had something wrong. Navicular, founder, ring bone, a variety of ailments that your horse can have, hopefully being assessed by a vet to diagnose the different ailments. Or you could shoe your horse for performance reasons. If you were taking your horse to a rodeo and you wanted to get a better time, if you're riding barrels, you wanted your horse to run faster, we can provide support and traction through the arena. You could shoe your horse for mountain riding, trails, parades. Your horse can be shod for a variety of reasons. It is optional. It's not necessary. Yeah.
And there's where sort of a science comes in too.
Yes. There are probably 1,000 different shoes on the market as far as styles. There's metal, steel, aluminum, rubber. So the technology of shoeing is different through the years. So way back when, 1900, whatever, they were shoeing horses. It was just a basic steel shoe. And today, you can walk into a shoe store and find shoes are made pretty much out of different metals and plastics for different reasons, not including the size difference. So you have everything from a mini pony shoe all the way to a draft shoe that might be the size of the steering wheel on your truck.
And then a mule's foot is different from a horse.
Mule's foot's different. It's shaped different. It's elongated, and they're a different animal altogether. If you have to shoot a mule, it's a pretty rare sight because mules can go a lot longer between trims because their hoofs are made of more durable quality. Mules and Mustangs really don't need to be trimmed as often as your domesticated horses and your show horses.
I find it fascinating because, of course, I love horses.
Yes.
And lots of people out there listening do. And, of course, we have to bring in the fact that you're not so big, you're wiry, and you're female, and yet you're doing this career
Yes.
for a long time.
Loving every minute of it. Every day for me has been like a field trip. So the night before I know I'm going to a client's house, I get really excited, pack my lunch, lay out my clothes, because I don't know what I'm going to see the next day. Even if it's the client that I've seen for 15 years. Along your journey to get there, there could be something else. And then once you get there, the horse might not be the same mindset. Something might have happened the night before, and the horse is a little wiry. So every day is just like a field trip for me, and I get very excited to see what the next day brings.
It is adventurous, isn't it?
Yes.
Suppose you run across some things in the health of a horse's feet that maybe the client didn't know about.
Correct. That's pretty common. So your horse might have a little limp the night before or the day of, and you don't really, as a horse owner, you don't really acknowledge it because you say, oh, the farrier's coming anyway. And then I could show up and pick up the horse's foot, and we could find a simple abscess that needs to be cut out. Or pretty common is a horse will be walking through the pasture and pick up a nail or a screw that's stuck in their hoof. And then you have to deal with that from the scientific standpoint. Okay, can you pull it out? Can you fix it? Do we need to call a vet? So we get to diagnose stuff that you had not expected before you showed up.
Something you touched on was the horse's comfort in standing or moving, and so sometimes they have to be a little bit readjusted.
Yeah, so you can change two things when you trim a horse. So every trimming is called therapeutic because you can change everything about the horse. You can change the way they walk, or you could change the way they stand. And either one you do, if you do the correction properly, then you've helped the horse. But if you don't know what you're doing and you do the correction on your own, it could be improper and you could cause that horse more pain and discomfort than before you even trim the horse. So I really think that trimming and shoeing horses ought to be left to the professionals, even though you can go buy the tools yourself. If you don't really have knowledge of the science in the bony column, I really wouldn't suggest you trimming your own horses.
There are a variety of horseshoers or farriers in probably every community. We have ours here in Hopkins County. And you may be the only lady farrier. Do you find others?
I haven't found any others in Hopkins County. It's not to say I'm the only one. I'd like to meet some if there are. If there are women farriers here, call me. We'll get together. We'll trade stories. How
would anyone get in touch with you to find out, if you'd like to come out to their place?
I have a Facebook page. It is Diamond E Horseshoeing. Or you can reach me on my cell phone at 970-744-8385. Or email at diamondeshoeing@aol.com.
Diamond E Shoeing.
Diamond E Shoeing.
At AOL.com.
Yes.
Okay. So, do you ride?
I don't have as much time as I'd like to. Yeah, it's the saying that the mechanic's car is always the worst. At the end of the day, when I get home from doing horses, the last thing I want to do is mess with a horse. But I'll make time for that. I will.
Lots of people love horses. They don't maybe ride as much as they would have liked to, or maybe in their earlier years. But somehow, humans just love their horses.
Don't you know it?
I don't know what that special thing is called.
I do. The horse is very therapeutic. So even if you don't ride, just going home at the end of the day and seeing your horse and hearing him nicker across the fence, or go into the barn on a rainy day and give your horse a bucket full of grain and just sit on the ground. You've had a tough day. Go sit on the floor of your barn and listen to your horse munch that grain and talk to him. I know that sounds really silly, but there's something very, very therapeutic about being around a horse. And they come up and they touch you, and they touch you with their whiskers, and they're gentle and kind and gentle giants, and it's just something that can't be explained. I don't think there's a textbook reason for it, but it's very therapeutic.
That's been my experience too. One thing I used to do when I had several, I would have a lot of stress here at work.
Yes.
When I got away for lunch, I would drive to where I keep the horses and park and watch them standing under the shade tree.
Yes.
Because their leisure somehow made me feel more relaxed. I would go back to work.
That makes perfect sense. I have a saying that's, have you sniffed your horse today? And so when one of my friends is having a bad day, I always tell them, go sniff your horse. Because it really is something about burying your nose into their mane and just taking in the aroma. It's aromatherapy at its finest.
That's a good way to put it. I love the way horses smell. And some people say, but it smells good to me.
It does. You need a candle.
Do they make this, Ellie?
I don't know.
Eli Pettit.
Yes.
And you may know her mom, Hillis Bass.
Hillis
Bass, yes. And she's very active in the seniors community here.
Yes, she is.
And I'm happy that she convinced you to move to Hopkins County.
My mother is my biggest fan. Without her, I don't think I would have been able to do, without her I wouldn't have life, but without her I wouldn't have been able to do anything I've done as far as the shoeing career. or moving here or being successful in what I do. So she's my rock.
Your mom is talented in so very many ways.
Yes, she is.
And I admire her very much. Well, we're glad that you're in our area, and there's a ton more things I'd like to ask, but maybe on another time we'll get together and you come back in and tell us more about the science of farrier.
Yes.
A farrier.
Farrier.
Okay. And yes, there's still places you can go, let's say for the city folk, to see the different horseshoes there in their bins and how big these are and how heavy they feel. And it's pretty interesting.
There is a science to it, yes. Yeah. I love the challenge too. So
I can imagine that is challenging. And there's many more stories. So thank you for coming in to see us
Thank
today.
you for having me.
You're supposed to be there in 4 steps. We have not moved forward yet, but you need to understand where your halfway checkpoints are so that you can understand how big your initial step will be. Band, stand by. Upperclassmen, answer me a question.
The Wildcats marching band hit the practice field Monday for their first practice of summer band as they prepare for this fall. And I talked with band director Spencer Emmert.
We've been planning this for a long time. This is the culmination of many weeks of preparation for an exciting year. I told the kids this morning we've got 3 huge things that we're super duper excited about, which we want the community to really get on board with. We have an opportunity this year to advance. This is our area year, which is only every other year. Y'all know about that. So that's a super cool thing that we only get to do. The kids only get 2 times in their high school career, so they really are excited to not let that go by. We have our new uniforms that will be here by the first game that we will typically use uniforms, or typically the 3rd game after it cools off. So we'll have those brand new uniforms, and they're going to be a real game changer for the visual aspect of our show, and just lots of neat things. And then our third really fantastic thing is our big trip to the spring. We're traveling to Orlando and going to get to perform there, and going to get a chance to represent Sulphur Springs in a different area while showing these kids a little appreciation for all their hard work. So it is going to be a fantastic year. Our show, really, I'm excited for the crowd to get to see the show on Friday night. It's called What a Wonderful New World, and it has Louis Armstrong's What a Wonderful World in there. We have the Dvorak New World Symphony, our little classical input there that we really are required to do on area years, and then a fantastic opener, and it's all based on the Columbus's journey across the sea. And we have some special surprises this year that we've never done before on halftime Friday nights, and really hope the fans, get a hot dog another time, maybe during the other band, get up there and stay for us and cheer these kids on, because, man, like you said, we're out here in the hot, and these kids are just doing great.
What do your numbers look like today?
Oh, we're right where we thought we'd be. We had on the roll about a little over 120. We have a few people out on a couple of conflicts and this and that, but man, the kids that showed up were what we planned on, and we never can complain with that.
What's the agenda for day one? What are you trying to accomplish on this day?
Well, it's funny you ask. We kind of took a little curveball from in years past. We took the first hour or so just to do some team building activities and have a little fun, and the kids have really bonded more than I've ever seen. And we feel like that is kind of a new important thing in this day and age with kids that are, oftentimes have a lot to do on their own, and with digital interfacing and things. The social aspect of band is something special, and the fact that we have the family atmosphere, we're really building that up today. The other part of that is really working hard to start our fundamentals and get our marching part of that. We are not going to play a note today. We will start that tomorrow. So today is a team building and a physical training and getting ready to move and getting prepared to move and then play.
I would think, too, acclimatizing yourself to being outside in this kind of heat. The heat is just rising up from the ground.
Yes.
Breeze a little bit.
We could use more of a breeze, quite honestly, but we're giving the kids lots of water breaks, and like you said, it is a slow process to get them acclimated. Gone are the days when we have to tough it out and really push through. We just don't do that anymore. I mean, even athletics doesn't do that anymore. It's not healthy for the kids. It doesn't achieve anything. And so we're really careful about making sure that everybody has ample hydration and opportunity to rest, while also gradually conditioning them, and so far it's been great.
This is probably the most well-conditioned band. Everybody had to undergo a physical, I understand, and so they're a healthy bunch.
Yes, that is a new requirement by UIL, and we're negotiating all of those new kind of expectations. And so far, it's gone pretty smooth. So we're glad for that.
All right. Well, best of luck. Your first show is what, a month away?
Oh yeah. Well, we're gonna. Yeah, it's gonna be here before we know it. I wanted to quickly introduce our new band director,
Sure.
Mr. Ayo. Come on over. This is Elliot Ayo. He comes to us from down the road at Winsboro. I actually recruited him up from Southern Louisiana when I worked there, and through Mr. Taffel's resignation, we were so lucky to get Mr. Ayo, and wanted to just introduce him. And maybe you tell a little about yourself.
I'm just very excited to be here. It's always wonderful being in a community that values their band program and having students that are excited and motivated to work. What we have here is a group of students that give themselves completely to something that's larger than themselves, and we're really excited to see what they can do for us this year.
Will you be a specialist in terms of the certain instruments?
So I'm a saxophone player, so I specialize in woodwind instruments, and I'll be working with them and be teaching at the middle school also.
All right, and you came from Winsboro, right?
Yes, sir, coming from Winsboro.
They have a good band tradition, I understand.
Fantastic. Wonderful kids there, too. There are great kids everywhere, and these kids in this area really work hard for their band programs. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
In sports, Tuesday marked the opening day for the 3-day Wildcats football camp for SSISD students only entering the 8th and 9th grades. Camp hours are 9:30 a.m. until noon each day through Thursday. Wildcats football coach Greg Owens said camp for younger boys took place in late May, and he said that change seemed to help increase the numbers for that camp. With hot weather Tuesday morning, Coach Owens was glad to have the indoor field in the multi-purpose building. He said about 60 entering 8th and 9th grade football players attended Tuesday morning. Coach Owens said with the start of school getting closer, players are getting excited about playing. He said the camp helps get them in a rhythm, gives them something to do, and preps them for the fall. Coach Owens said some kids were missing Monday due to vacations and church camps. He said the ones at football camp are getting good work. And he said the campers were displaying lots of energy. Coaches, including varsity coaches, were working hard, and the campers were getting ready for 9th grade two-a-days, which will start on Monday. Coach Owens said if parents have 8th or 9th grade players sitting around the house, he encouraged the parents to get those kids to camp. He said coaches are installing offenses and defenses for the fall. He said kids are also getting measured for helmets, shoulder pads, shorts, and T-shirts, so they'll be ready to roll next Monday. Coach Owens said at camp his coaches are spending 45 minutes to an hour on offense and then an equal time on defense. He said the youngsters are being trained on both sides of the ball. And Coach Owens said that the kids at camp are getting ahead of the game as those two-a-days gear up for those 9th graders next week. Lynette King, one of those working on Wildcats football season ticket week, said Tuesday morning that current ticket holders were coming in to renew their seats at a very steady rate. She said about half of the season ticket holders renewed their seats on Monday, which she said was pretty close to usual. Current ticket holders had until 5:30 p.m. Tuesday to get in and renew their seats or lose them. Wednesday is the biggest day of season ticket week, and that's the day renewing season ticket holders may seek upgrades. It's not unusual for people to begin lining up Tuesday night. Ms. King encouraged those wanting upgrades to line up before dawn on Wednesday. She said typically the first 20 to 25 in line usually get decent amounts of tickets that they're looking for. Ms. King said Wednesday is also big for people who bought okay tickets in past years just to get their foot in the door so that they could seek upgrades. Tickets left after Wednesday will go on sale to the general public Thursday morning. Ms. King said season ticket personnel are also asking this year for email addresses from season ticket purchasers. She said there would be no letters sent out next year announcing season ticket week. That notice will now be sent out by email. Media members will continue to alert the public. And that's Channel 18 TV News for today. I'm Don Julian. Thank you for joining me, and so long, everybody.
Okay, when's this World Series start?
Teams will be here Friday. Opening ceremonies is Friday at the Civic Center, and then they start Saturday morning through next Wednesday.
Okay, were you aware that we were in contention for the World Series?
Yeah, we knew about this at the end of last year.
Okay, so what does the World Series mean to you and your crew?
Well, gives us a chance to show off what we have here in Sulphur Springs.
What all do you have to do to get ready for this?
I don't think we have enough time.
I've got 4 hours, sir.
Just about everything. Getting fields ready, making sure everything's safe, fertilizing, making sure the grass is nice and green, beautiful. Other than that, just work, work, work.
Okay, what are you doing right here?
We had another sprinkler out in the outfield. We had a little dry spot there, so we put another sprinkler out there.
Oh, okay. So did you replace all the infields?
No, we didn't need to replace them.
You just touch them up a little?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Concession stand in operating order?
Oh yeah, beautiful.
Bathrooms in operating order?
Bathrooms, we're ready.
How many people you expect out here this weekend?
I figure about 800 a day will be here. 30 teams. We figure about 800.
Golly, we're gonna have enough parking places?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. All the hotel, there's not a hotel room to be had.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yes, it is.
Anything you just want people to know about this?
Just come out and enjoy. You can watch games in the shade, which most complexes are all concrete. We got a beautiful park here, and just come out and have fun.
What time are these games gonna get started?
They have 2 sessions starting each day from 9 and 11, the first 2 games, and they come back and play at 6 and 8 each day. So they'll have 4 games a day on each field.
Charge admission?
The city doesn't, the organization does.
Okay, so where will people pay to get in here? Do you know?
Actually, they're going to pay when they come in field 1, between 1 and 2, and between 5 in the second parking lot. We have too many people. We usually collect up at the front gate, but the cars will line up all the way out to the service road, and we figure that's way too dangerous. So we're going to get them in here before we collect the money.
Get them parked and up to the... Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's pretty dangerous out there by that service road.
All right, well, I'll let you get back to work.
We'll do it.
And looking forward to this weekend.
All right, thanks.